10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
Manchester
1,
United have
0.
reached the promised land.
Happy Friday, everybody. It's April Fool's today, but I'm not coming here with any jokes. I don't really think it's the time to try and wind Manchester United fans up. I think everyone's got pretty wound up over what's happened in the last couple of weeks with everything that's going on with Erik Ten Hag, everything that's going on with Mauricio Pochettino, and I suppose a lot of frustration among United fans at how, let's be honest, we expected it, but it's been a bit of a drawn-out process in the last couple of weeks, and it continues. And there's quite a major update that's come from Burt from the Telegraph last night, and quite an extended article. And I'm going to run through that full article with you this morning, looking at every single point he raised. And there really are a load of different discussion points inside that article. And the madness of all of this is we play footy tomorrow. We've got Leicester at 5:30. We'll speak about the early team news from Leicester. We'll speak about Manchester United's early team news. We'll take a look at the Premier League table. We'll run through and we'll look at what really are our chances at a top four finish this season. Really? I don't think there's much of a chance, but, I'm not going to rule it out completely. Who's down here in the comments? We've got Andy. We've got Anuj. Good morning to both of you, my friends. Takeoff. We've got Joda. We've got Paula. We've got Ant, you're there. Ian, you're there. Josh, Francis. Who's it? Bruce, you're there too. Oh, my God. There's so many down in the comments. Jason and James and John. Everywhere. Plenty of members down in the comments. And Fred, nice to see you here this morning. Yeah, genuinely, I would love to have gone with it. Not a prank, but, it's April Fool's. I would like to have a bit of fun this morning, but I don't think it's the right sort of time for Manchester United fans. I think everyone's feeling a little bit, frustrated. On the one hand, I completely and utterly understand and I agree with the fact that Manchester United are going through a diligent process with our manager. Okay, we haven't done that with any other manager before and it stung us. So the idea that we're doing it properly this time, I don't necessarily begrudge Manchester United for doing that. But I do think they're kind of delaying it in certain areas, but I don't really think they need to. So let's waste absolutely no time here. It's Friday. You know what happens on Friday. It's an interactive stream. I'm going to whip up the map later on. So you let me know where you're watching from. We've got Nerja watching from Bangladesh. We've got Stephen watching from Belfast. Good morning to you. And Meander watching from Zambia over on Facebook. I'll add a few of you on the map later on in the show. But make sure, as always, you get involved in the comments. You support the channel by just dropping a quick like on the video. It really does help. But let's waste no time. As I said, look, Sashi watching from Japan, as always. Japan, Malaysia, all around the world, and South Africa. It's awesome. Sierra Leone, geez. It always puts a smile on my face that all the United fans around the world who are watching. Let's dive into it. It's quite an important one. As I said, this came from Jason Burt last night from the Telegraph, saying that Erik Ten Hag is leading the race for Manchester United's job ahead of a final round of interviews. The club's search for a new permanent manager appears to be a clear shootout between Ten Hag and Poch. Now, that bit there, that's not an update in any way, shape, or form. I've said that literally since the very start. I've said any sort of distraction that we've had with it, Enrique or Tuchel or Lopetegui or any other manager, I thought was irrelevant white noise. So it's proven to be, because it really is a two-horse race between Ten Hag and Poch. But we already knew that before yesterday. Let's go down and see what the latest actual updates are. So Manchester United are expected to carry out a second and final round of interviews before appointing their new manager, although Erik Ten Hag has now emerged as the clear favourite. United have spoken to Ten Hag and Poch and at least one other candidate as they search for a new manager. Now, this is an interesting point here. So we've spoken to Ten Hag, we've spoken to Poch, but that other candidate is not believed to be Luis Enrique, nor is it Julian Lopetegui. So that's a really interesting one. Who do you think that third manager could have been then? Because if it's Ten Hag and Poch are the two managers who have been interviewed, and we know they've been interviewed, that's been well documented. Who would that third manager have been if it wasn't Enrique and it wasn't Lopetegui? You let me know what you think about that in the comments. That's a good one there. It may well be Ralph. It may well be Ralph Rangnick. And who else would it be? Right? Ian, pipe down in the comments there. You keep your Graham Souness comments to yourself. It was better than these streams when you weren't here. I'm only joking, man. I'm only joking. Steve Bruce, Simeone, Amorim, Hassan Hootel. That could be a good shout. Nagelsmann. It definitely wasn't Nagelsmann. And it definitely better not have been Brendan Rodgers. Oh, man. I'll tell you what. I'm so glad that Leicester went through their crap run of form when we were looking at ideas for new managers, because I swear to God, if it was Brendan Rodgers who came in, it would have felt like Moyes part 2 for me. And look, some of you are actually saying Moyes in the comments. Sod knows who it was, but I found that part quite interesting. Right, let's scroll down and let's see how this continues. Look, United were interested in Tuchel, blah, blah, blah. We don't need to know that. The fact that United are planning another round of interviews clearly suggests they have not made a final decision on who they want as the next manager. PSG are prepared to let Poch go, and he is due to get 20 million regardless of whether he is offered another job. This bit down here is quite important here. PSG will not expect a payment and will not stand in the way of Poch should he accept another job. And neither are they insistent that Pochettino asked for permission before speaking to another club. This is something I said very much straight away. When Ten Hag was interviewed, my tweet, I can pull the tweet up. I don't need to. I could pull the tweet up and say, look, I expect Poch to be interviewed in the next few days. And the immediate response from people were like, why would PSG allow? That's stupid. Why would PSG allow that? Lo and behold, that's exactly what's happened. PSG are not standing in the way. They're going to lose him anyway. They have no intention of holding on to him. It's a ticking time bomb until he's sacked. Simple as that. They're not going to stand in the way. They've already won the league. Game over. And that, by the looks of it, is the case. And that for those who don't really want Poch in, that's a bit of a worrying line. PSG will not expect a payment. So if Manchester United were to go in and get Pochettino, according to Jason Burt from the Telegraph, PSG won't be asking for any compensation package. They won't be asking Man United to pay £5-10 million to get Poch out of PSG. They'll just allow it to go for free. Or, in other words, as A says down here, PSG don't want Poch. Now, I think if PSG were digging their heels in, I think Ten Hag might already be our manager. But it's very much an easy run. It's an open door at PSG. We walk in, we take our man. It's basically an open door at Ajax. We walk in, we take our man. And what it's coming down to is Manchester United simply, by the sounds of it, just cannot make their mind up. Strasbourg, what are you saying down in the comments here, sir? Third manager choice for United should be Christophe Galtier at Nice. Absolutely class manager. He won League One with Lille last year. Yeah, that's when they pipped, of course, Poch and PSG to the title. I haven't really been watching how they're getting on this season, though. I heard Joel Glazer took a summer coaching course. That you get out of the comments here. I know it's April Fool's. There's going to be some right dirty comments coming here. Oh, look, Jonas watching from Mauritius Island. How you doing, buddy? Look, Zinedine Zidane, that's who PSG want in. And they really, really are not. I didn't expect them to, but they're effectively opening the door. I told you. I said PSG will basically put United in a private jet, fly them over to Paris, and give them the best hotel room for the interview. They want Poch out. Simple as that. Then he's going to be leaving anyway. I'm surprised that there's no sort of clause in their contract that if he was taken by another club, that there would be a reduction in the compensation. And maybe there is. Maybe no one knows that. Maybe there's something as part of that PSG contract that they don't have to pay as much if he gets another job, rather than the fact that he is sacked. But there's still quite a few updates inside this article that we need to run through. As I said, quite a big update, this one. They are hopeful he would agree to the deal and still hope that Zidane will become the new PSG coach in the summer, although they might hold out for Deschamps. Ajax did, and this is a big one on Ten Hag here. We'll have a discussion about this in the comments for sure. Ajax did grant permission before United interviewed Ten Hag, and compensation is not believed to be an issue. However, while the discussions went well, there is concern among the Dutch coach's camp that there are issues from within United as to whether he has experience of being in charge of a big club. Although the 52-year-old has been successful at Ajax, he has only been a head coach in the Netherlands, having previously worked at Utrecht and Go Ahead Eagles. He did have a spell, but that was only in charge of Bayern Munich's second team. We previously, and we've all had this conversation multiple times, looking at the pros of Ten Hag and the pros of Poch. And there's plenty of pros for Pochettino and there's plenty of pros for Ten Hag. And if you're going to use one thing against Ten Hag, really, it's that lack of experience at the highest level. The lack of Premier League experience for me is a complete and utter fallacy, right? A complete and utter fallacy, which I don't think has any sort of relevance to it. Jurgen Klopp had no Premier League experience before he went to Liverpool, and neither did Pep Guardiola, neither did Thomas Tuchel. No manager has Premier League experience until they've come to the Premier League. It doesn't mean they're not a top coach, but it's the concept here of being in charge of a big club. Now, I personally would say Ajax is a big club. I think that's a little bit disingenuous to say about Ajax. Is Ajax on the same level as Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Liverpool, and United? No, it's not. I won't argue that. The pressures are incredibly different. But if we're talking about Jurgen Klopp's experience in the Bundesliga with Dortmund, obviously going toe-to-toe with Bayern Munich, yeah, that's a step above. But is it that far away from what he's doing at Ajax? Is it that far away from the fact that he's got Ajax to a Champions League semi-final, their first Champions League semi-final since 1997? I know, for me, it just feels like Manchester United and the structure, because I tweeted about this last night. Manchester United, after we got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, we moved our power structure in the club. We moved to a sort of vote by committee. That means a sort of everybody got involved. There wasn't one huge, like, dictator, if you know what I mean, or Ed Woodward kind of still was. There wasn't one huge, powerful voice. It was everybody could chip in, and everybody could then make a sort of democratic decision together. It feels like that's going on at Manchester United, but no one's really got a more powerful voice. No one's really got any more influence than anybody else. So whether it's John Murtough and Darren Fletcher or whoever else, Ralph Rangnick's supposed to be involved in this process, but we really don't know how much he is. Nobody can seem to make their mind up enough. There's, in my opinion, it's one of two things. It's either that Murtough and Fletcher and everybody there in the power structure and the decision-making process at Manchester United, they can't make a decision, or they are making decisions, and when they give it up to Joel Glazer, who ultimately has to give it the tick, he's putting it back and saying, well, he's not managing the Premier League. Don't know if that was the worst American accent ever, but I imagine that's how Joel Glazer speaks. I don't know what it is. You let me know what you think about it in the comments, but it feels like it feels like there's just a massive lack of indecision at this point. The pros and the cons of Ten Hag and Poch are so obvious that this sort of groundwork this could have been done as soon as Rangnick became manager in November, December time. These sorts of conversations were needed to be had there. It almost feels like we've only started this process really at the start of the international break, and that we haven't really done the groundwork beforehand. And that is a little bit as to why we're in this situation now. Chris, you're saying the irony of the board questioning if Ten Hag can run a big club. This board doesn't appear to be able to manage a big club. It's an excellent comment there from Chris. And yeah, if Ten Hag's going to take any sort of advice on how to run a football club, it really is not going to come from Manchester United. It really is not going to come from the Glazers. If I'm going back for a second interview, I would say you're really going to look at me and question whether I can run a big club. Look inwards, guys. Look at your own failures. Look at your own faults. And it's not as if going for a big name who has had experience at Netherlands got them to, was it third place in the World Cup? Louis van Gaal did before he came to us. What happened? Managed Bayern Munich before he came to us. What happened? Jose Mourinho won the treble with Inter. Managed Real Madrid. Managed Ronaldo. Managed Chelsea. He was the one who came and sort of tore up the Premier League status quo. What happened? It's not... There's not a... The idea of who the right and the wrong manager is, there's not a blueprint. There's not a book you can go to the library, get that, read that, and then you know exactly who the right manager is for every single club. Every single club has different dynamics. Every single club has different reasonings at different times. And that, for me, is why I've stood, and I still stand by the idea that Ten Hag suits Manchester United more for what we need now. I just want United to make a decision. I really do. Let me read this article a little bit more and see if there's anything more that we can run through. Ten Hag has only ever worked in a particular environment where he has had support of a sporting director, and United is still to finalise the structure of getting a football department. Well, how about you fucking get a football department then, United, instead of looking for a manager that's worked in a shit football working environment, because that's how bad the environment is. How about you fix the environment, and then you can get any manager you want? That is the completely wrong mentality. Absolutely. United are concerned about Ten Hag's perceived lack of experience, although it's been pointed out. There you go. After appointing the likes of Van Gaal, Mourinho, they've previously gone for a big name manager. It has not worked. At the same time, it is not as if Ten Hag is working for a small club. Yeah, Ajax is a massive club, man. Ajax is the biggest club. It's such a historic club. It's one of the most historic clubs, maybe not most, but it's a massively historic club inside European football. They've won the Champions League. They've got a beautiful stadium. They've got high expectations and they've got big pressures. And when Ten Hag went into that club, they were a Europa League club. They were not winning the Eredivisie. He's won 2 domestic doubles. He's got them to a Champions League semi-final. He's got them undefeated, I think, in the Champions League group stages this year. Obviously got knocked out by Benfica. And he's on for the double this year. Got PSV in the final of the Dutch Cup on the 17th of April and is going toe-to-toe with PSV for the title. He could leave, if he leaves Ajax at the end of this year, and I think he will, he could leave with 3 domestic doubles and a Champions League semi-final. And given the resources that exist at Ajax, it's an incredible achievement. They may well have an incredible academy. And that is the backbone and the lifeblood of Ajax. That's what has allowed them to rebuild. You know, Burt, Timber, Mazraoui. Obviously, he was in the team in 2018 and 22, but he was a player that came through the academy. Van der Beek. You know, the list is Frankie de Jong, De Ligt. The list is ridiculous that's come through their academy. But to try and, at this stage, to try and still be having that argument, maybe Ten Hag's not experienced enough. It's like, Jesus Christ, lads. That's the first conversation you should be having. How is that still a blocker at this point after an interview? What are they going to ask in the second interview? Genuinely, if you're John Murtough or Darren Fletcher, what are you looking for in this second interview from Ten Hag and Poch that you don't already know from that first interview? Genuinely, let me know in the comments below what you think will be asked in that, because I've got absolutely no idea. Malps, you're there in the comments saying it's still dragging on, this manager thing. It's just when you have a structure at Manchester United where there's not really a true delegation of power, and it's not necessarily to say that Richard Arnold is sitting there cross-armed and he's not letting the football men do their job. Doesn't really feel like that's the issue at the moment. It just feels like there's a lot of men there who have their own opinions, and there's so many differing opinions that no one can come to a firm conclusion. It's just, but what about, and they just keep going back and forth. You know, on the other hand, as I said at the very start, I said, I understand that this is due diligence, that this is a second round of interviews. Realistically, if you've ever been for a decent job, like quite a high level job in your life, you're probably going to go for 2 interviews. You're going to go for an initial interview. It's going to get you through the front door. And the second interview is where you're going down to a shortlist. But Ten Hag was already on the shortlist. It's not as if Manchester United interviewed 49 bloody managers and Ten Hag got himself to the second stage. It was Ten Hag or Poch by the time he was spoken to. So I just don't really know what they're going to be doing. I get the feelings Ajax don't want it out yet. And I have seen that being pushed around, Alex. The idea is that maybe Manchester United have already struck a deal. Maybe the idea is Ajax want to keep it behind closed doors. I think we're sort of looking for looking through rose-tinted glasses. I just don't think a decision's been made at the moment. Jonathan, you're saying second interview questions, where do you see yourself in 5 years? That absolutely should have been one of the first things that, not one of the first things that you asked Ten Hag, but you come in. It's what what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did when he went in and he gave a 5-year plan to Ed Woodward. It was a key characteristic and a key reason why he actually got the job, because he said, right, we're going to be signing these players, we're going to do this. And he went with that plan. And I imagine Ten Hag did a very similar thing. You're saying, where do you see yourself in 5 years? What are your strengths and weaknesses? Again, that's the first thing you ask in the first interview, surely. Ever had a problem with a colleague, and how did you resolve it? Just reminds me of some bad interviews I did. How do you escalate problems? Bloody HR United. That's exactly what it sounds like. Just a HR. Both are good managers, says Takeoff. No doubt. I just hope United make the right choice, whether it's Poch or Ten Hag. And another thing is, if we fans can be patient, give the next manager a chance. And this next manager will be given that's not really going to be an issue, Takeoff, at all, in my opinion. I don't think it's going to be an issue with Poch or Ten Hag. You would have watched my video that I did yesterday. I took a look at Gary Neville's comments from the overlap. I really enjoyed doing the pundit reaction videos. It's something that I've kind of started doing on United People's TV. I didn't think that anybody was really doing it on YouTube for United anyway. And they've done well. So I appreciate the fact that you're watching them. And I think you just appreciate the comment that we can do, because as a pundit, You can say what you want, and sometimes you just kind of get away with it. So it's good to hold the pundits to account in the same way that somebody could watch my video and react and question my opinions. I mean, I don't know why they do that, but it's good to see that there's a series there that we can continue with through the season. And Gary Neville's comments about Ten Hag, he said, look, at this point, I'd be very surprised if it's not Ten Hag who comes in. I completely still stand by that point. And as we're seeing here from Jason Burt, that headline there, although I'll be honest with something about this article, which didn't, in my opinion, completely sit right with me. And I'll tell you what it is. Let's get the headline back up here. Erik Ten Hag is leading the race for the Manchester United job ahead of a final round of interviews. That was a headline from Jason Burt. And then throughout the article, he goes on to describe how PSG are prepared to let Poch go without a fee, how Man United are still concerned about Ten Hag's experience. It was an article where, let's be completely honest, having read all of it, it was an article which felt almost as confused as Manchester United's decision-making process as to whether we want Ten Hag or Poch. It was an article which came with a headline about Ten Hag being absolutely leading the race. And I hope he is leading the race, and he should be leading the race. He's definitely the best candidate. But it threw more question marks in. And I think, look, we're going into this game against Leicester tomorrow, and we're going to be speaking about that probably in the next 10, 15 minutes or so. We're going to be taking a look at the table. We're going to be taking a look at the fixtures coming up and whether United actually had got a chance of getting that top 4 spot. I don't really think they do. But let's go down here in the comments and let's see what's going on here. PSG will let Poch go without a fee. I don't think that's possible. It would surprise me, but also not surprise me. Let's be honest, money doesn't mean a fucking thing to PSG. They turned down £200 million for Mbappe, who they're going to lose on a free transfer simply because they wanted him, because they wanted to win the Champions League. Whether they get $5 million for Poch or not is completely and utterly irrelevant. Actual just dropping a penny in the ocean for them. They don't need that in any way, shape or form. And if they can just get rid of their manager, it looks like they will be getting rid of him. Happy Coding saying that PSG is due a big payout if PSG sack him. So Poch is due Poch is due a big payout if PSG sack him. Why was that such a hard sentence to say? Too many P's. Yeah, but he'll get that payout even if he isn't sacked and a new club comes and takes him away. That's what Jason Burt is saying. What does that say about PSG? And what does that say about Poch and PSG? Too many fucking P's. What does that say about Poch if PSG are just going to get rid of him? It means it didn't work there. But in the same way that Thomas Tuchel didn't leave PSG a bad manager, Poch won't leave PSG as a bad manager. So I do use the last couple of years against Poch. My God, I don't want to say Poch and PSG anymore. It's getting on my nerves. Because he's ultimately failed there. Lost out on the league title to Lille last year, kind of at the same time. That was when he went in halfway through the season because Tuchel left. So that wasn't completely his fault. This year, he's absolutely cruised the league, but they ultimately got knocked out in the Champions League again. So it is a failure. Poch can be a successful addition, says Sheikh. I've got no doubt that he would and could be a good manager for Manchester United. And at the same time, and I've said this so many times, and I'm sure you're probably bored of hearing it, but Ten Hag would just be better. Why go out and get a certain car if you can, for the same price, get a better car? You're obviously going to choose the better car, and that's the way I look at it. Gary, you're saying PSG want to get rid of Poch and no other club wants him. Is that not a sign? Real Madrid, who are they in for? I don't really know. I reckon that Poch will probably end up at Real Madrid. And exactly this, Anthony. It says more about PSG than it does about Poch. Simple as that. Poch is just going to be the next name on that list of managers who have ultimately failed to win the Champions League inside a club which has failed to win the Champions League. And it's more, I think Anthony's spot on there. It's more about PSG as a club rather than it is about Poch as a manager. And I do actually agree on that. And I also agree with that's an excellent way of putting it. We need tomorrow's big manager, not yesterday's. That's an excellent comment there from Happy Coding. And it's pretty much how I strongly feel about Ten Hag. There's no doubt in the possibility that Poch could come to United and light that fire again. and we could get the same sort of Poch that existed in the Premier League between 2016 and 2019. And it could be great for United. Wouldn't rule that out in any way, shape, or form. If I didn't think that was a possibility, I wouldn't even entertain the idea of Poch. But at the same time, Ten Hag hasn't lit that fire yet. He's just been bubbling at Ajax. I've said this before as well. At the end of Ten Hag's career, Ajax won't be the first club that people talk about. That won't be what he is remembered for as a manager. What comes next is what Ten Hag is going to be remembered for. And he will know that. He'll know his own legacy that he wants to leave behind. And I just want that legacy to be created at Manchester United. Simple as that. Let me read a couple more of your comments out down here. Oh, look at that. Angela, you're saying you bought your tickets for the Palace game in Melbourne. Going to be my first time watching United. Absolutely. Enjoy that, my friend. Tell you what, though, it's been a little bit sick. I was looking at the prices for the game between Liverpool and United in Bangkok. The cheapest ticket is about £115, which is about 60% of the annual monthly average wage in Thailand. And there's not that many seats at that price. They go up to like £500-600 a ticket, which is like 2-3 months salary. I think it's ridiculous. It's insane. Louis van Gaal is right. We all know what they are. They're commercial tours. They're not tours designed to help fans, and they're not tours designed to help the teams. Kind of wish they didn't really have to happen. And you were heading to Perth to watch United for the second time. Cool, enjoy that, my friend. And you're saying I think Poch would be better to get the best out of the existing team, but the existing team won't be good enough to win the league. We need to move on and plan for the future. Hey, look, I've done a video on the philosophy of Ten Hag, in-depth video. I'm sure plenty of you have watched that, and I'm sure that will get watched over time, hopefully after Ten Hag becomes manager. And I did a separate video on Poch's philosophy. I ran through both of them, and I compared them. And look, you can go and watch those videos because there's too much information to get across in this. I also did a separate tactics video on Ten Hag this week in terms of what's his development been from 2018 to 2022. You can go and watch that one as well if you want. I won't be doing any sort of content in terms of who should Ten Hag keep or sell, until we've got confirmation as to who our manager is going to be. I've said this before, like there's not really much point talking about signings and who should he keep, who should he sell, because it will change depending on what the manager is. I just hope it's Ten Hag. Look, Jason Burt's gone there and he's saying that Erik Ten Hag is leading the race. In my opinion, Erik Ten Hag has always been leading the race. It's just like Manchester United. It's like they want to find a problem. It's like they want to pick holes. That's what they're doing. They're picking holes. They're being very pernickety about this and very particular. And it's just on the one hand, you can say, right, okay, at least my club's being diligent. On the other hand, it's like, geez, what's the delay for? Because you're letting other clubs come in. You're giving Ten Hag the opportunity to be lured by other clubs. Whereas at the time we interviewed him, it was a free run at him. Nick, you're saying maybe we're already close to signing Ten Hag. We won't announce him before the end of the season because of Ajax's title race anyway. It's a difficult position to be in. It is a complicated position. Absolutely. And I don't really know. I think Manchester United would give Ajax the respect of choosing when and how it will be announced because they are in a title race. And because of our relationship with Van der Sar, I imagine that's quite a prevalent thing because they don't want to rock the boat. But I also, at the same time, there's no way that this just continues until the end of the season. And then all of a sudden, come May, the Ten Hag announcement comes. You think we're really going to wait another 6-7 weeks before we're really going to be doing that announcement? I don't think that's the case at all. The interview process started last week. That's when it went public. And therefore, there has to be a conclusion for that. This can't just drag on. Ragnick's going to get interviewed today in his press conference. That's going to come later on, probably about lunchtime-ish, early afternoon. And the first question is going to be not about him, not about the Leicester game. It's going to be about Ten Hag. It's going to be about our next manager. What input have you had? And I'll be honest, I'll be very interested to see that. A strategic leak to the press? Maybe, Nick. But look, I think we're all, I don't know. I think we're being a little bit over-optimistic if we're thinking Manchester United are that smart. Let's be honest. Stephen watching from Belfast. How you doing there, buddy? Buy me a pint in Belfast. Lovely. I can't remember last time I was in Belfast. When I was in Derry. When I was in Derry? I was in Derry like 2-3 months ago. But look, we're going to move on quickly, and we're going to move on to talk about the Leicester game. We need to talk about the football. Football's back tomorrow. And it's been like such a long time. And we've been talking about Ten Hag and Poch for so long that we kind of forgotten about it. But before I do move on to it, I want to say a big shout out to Bet Victor for supporting United People's TV and we'll support United People's TV for the next few months as well. And this, again, Adam McCullough, he's a United fan represented there over on the Bet Victor Last Man Standing series. And he was speaking, he was asked about best partnerships that existed, attacking partnerships. And he threw forward, I think you know exactly who he threw for, but I want to speak about it. So just watch his clip.
I was going to go for Rudy and Ronaldo. I went for Cole and York. The reason being the telepathy they had together, the combination, the goals that they scored. And not only that, we're talking about different people here, but Cole and York did it all, won all the marbles in the same season. Now, you might want to talk about how Kane and Son have got better statistics or something like that. But unless you do it together when it matters, there's no point. And Cole and York did it together when it matters.
I love that. I love Cole and York. I always remember that goal that they scored away at Barcelona, you know, when he stepped over the ball, 1-2s, and it was an easy goal to score. But how Manchester United could do with a Cole and York, even a Cole. Andy Cole, absolutely. Adam was going on to say there that Andy Cole is one of the most underrated English strikers that has ever existed. He's one of the top 10 all-time Premier League goal scorers. What I'd ask you to do, ladies and gents, there's a link I've just put into the comments there. There's a comment that I've left on a video. Just go over there and just drop a like on the video. Oh, look. By the way, looks like, let's have a look here. Whilst we're live on stream, has this happened? Let's have a look. I hope this has happened. Let me pull up my socialists. Yeah, boy. Let me tweet this bad boy out. 1 second. Let me pull this picture up as well. This is a beauty, ladies and gents. Let me get this up. There we go. Official. It's done. Look at that. Bruno Fernandes has signed his new contract with Manchester United. Beautiful. Beautiful. That's what I'm saying. Beautiful. Where is it? Let me see what the official statement says. Let me pull this up from Manchester United. What's your reaction? I've already spoken about that this contract going out. Man, I'm over the moon. I really am over the moon. And I can't believe that there are United fans genuinely that aren't over the moon with it. Let me just 1 second here. When a big announcement like this comes out, you got to get stuff done at the same time. Multitasking. Bruno deal announced. There we go. Oh, that's the wrong person. Damn it. Damn it. This is what happens when you have to multitask with like 4 different things. There we go. Right, let's read through this comment here together. Bruno Fernandes signs his new Manchester United contract. I am buzzing. I really am. Manchester United is delighted to announce that Bruno Fernandes has signed a new contract that will keep him at the club until 2026 with the option to extend for a further year. Happy days indeed. Now, if that doesn't deserve a like on the video, I don't know what does. What's Bruno been saying down here? Bruno Fernandes, from the moment that I joined Manchester United, I've had a special relationship with the club and our amazing fans. I grew up watching this team, dreaming of getting the chance to play here one day. The dream is now a reality and an honour. Even after 2 years, it still feels amazing to step out at Old Trafford, to hear the fans sing my song and to score in front of the Stretford end. It's a true privilege to wear this shirt and to fight for our incredible club. There is so much more that I want to achieve here, like winning something. And I know that it is the same for the rest of the squad and staff. More than anything, we want to give the fans the success they deserve. We have shared some great moments over the years, but the best is yet to come from myself and this team. What's your reaction in the comments below? Like I've given my opinion on Bruno quite strongly when I covered the news from Fabrizio Romano. I really am delighted, absolutely delighted that Bruno Fernandes has signed that deal. And I'll be honest, we've got to give him an armband. That's got to be one of the worst comments I've seen on this channel. Rewarding poor performances honestly, mate, you represent a section of United fans which have got a massive, massive sense of entitlement. Do you not remember where we were as a team on the pitch before Bruno came in January 2020? Jesus, you're talking about the fact that he's been in crap form for the last couple of months. Yeah, he has been in bad form for the last couple of months. Jesus, have you not seen how Manchester United have been in the last couple of months? Get your head out the sand, people. Anybody who's, anybody is, but there are United fans that genuinely feel like that. And I don't like to dig United fans out, and I don't like to cause any sort of infighting, but I swear to God, if you're trying to pick holes at Bruno, think differently, man. There's so much more energy that you could be spending in different areas just to try and pick apart our best player. What are you doing? Yes, he needs to mature, which might be a strange thing to say for a 27-year-old. Parts of his games need to be more rounded. His decision-making absolutely has to improve. But his return has been insane. Let's go up here. What's he got? 49 goals and 39 assists in 117 games. What's that? 90 goal or assist contributions in 117 games. And he's a midfielder. Seriously, people. Honestly. I'm not saying all of you. Some of you don't deserve United to be good. If you're really going to be one. It's like fans demand perfection every single week, every single game. And if you don't get it, shit, sell him, get someone else. It's not FIFA. It's not Football Manager. Players do go through dips. Bruno is going through a dip. But I am not going to criticize. Look, I'm not going to be here like blinded with red tinted specs and say that he doesn't deserve some sort of criticism. He absolutely does deserve criticism. Just like every other player does. And when you're not winning trophies, every player deserves criticism. But that's how I feel. Just like that. Big smile on my face because Bruno has signed a new contract. He's here until 2026 and he's committed to the club. You've got to give him the armband, man. You've got to give him the armband. And look, Jonathan, you're absolutely right here. He's a massively, massively emotional player. He's somebody who, a bit similar to Rooney, plays with his heart on his sleeve. It can be his greatest asset at times, but it can also be his greatest hindrance at other times. But he is a top level player. As Jonathan points out rightly there, somebody who just scored 2 goals against North Macedonia to take Portugal to the World Cup finals. 2 excellent goals, and what a finish on the second one. And Bruno's playing bad right now, and he's still one of our best players. What does that say for the rest of the squad? Seriously, man, people need to spend their energy elsewhere, I swear to God. Because the notion that some people are angry that Bruno's been given a new contract, it blows my mind. Seriously, you go back to watching United in December 2019, a month before Bruno came in. Watch those games that happened the month before and watch those games that happened the month after. Or just watch anything that's happened after. I've got no time for those United fans. And as I said, I'm not somebody who drives division. It's not my style. It's not my style of presenting. It's not my style as a United fan. I'd rather speak to him. But anybody who doesn't think that is a good thing for Manchester United, I'd love to know what you actually do think is a good thing for Manchester United, if that's a bad thing. 3 goals, you're saying Bruno overall has been excellent. I think so as well. Can you imagine if he had Kante? Oh, Bellingham. Gee, I'll tell you, look, we tried to get Bellingham. We schmoozed him. We brought Fergie in. We brought his family to Carrington. We did everything we could to get Bellingham, but he chose correctly. He did choose correctly. Look at what he's done at Dortmund and look what he would have been involved in at Manchester United. Maybe it would have been a very different story if we did have Bellingham in it, though. Absolutely. If Bruno is bad, I want that kind of bad in every position on the goddamn pitch. As I said, Bruno needs to improve certain aspects of his game. And I hope now, what I want to see is that armband being taken away from Maguire. That will probably help Maguire. Let's be honest, we're not going to sell Maguire. So we need to, as a club, try to think of the best way to get the most out of Harry Maguire. Number one thing to do there is to take the armband away from him and have the conversation. It has to go to someone else. It's obviously a burden that's burning his arm rather than making him stronger. Take it away from him. If he doesn't have the self-awareness or the ability to hand it over, take it away from him. Give it to Bruno. He's just committed his future to the club till 2027. Despite where we are at the moment, despite the fact that we don't currently have our full-time manager for next season, he's willing to sign. And he's not on ridiculous wages. He's way under what De Gea earns. I think he's on parity, roughly, with what Martial earns. He's less than Pogba as well. I'm not saying don't talk bad about Bruno. I'm not here going to defend him blindly, as I've said. But anybody who genuinely tries to argue that's a bad thing for Manchester United, don't come here and try and have it United People's TV, because you will not get a conversation out of me. Could you explain what the second interview is and what it could possibly be? Hey, Marshall, we had that conversation in the comments earlier. I was like, what are they really going to ask Ten Hag or Poch? That they haven't already asked him. I'm confused about that. And you disagree there and said taking the armband destroys Maguire. I'm not saying I see a massive future for Maguire at Manchester United. I'm saying that there's no chance that we sell him this summer because we paid 80 million. And realistically, on paper now, you're probably going to put him down as a 20, 30 million pound signing. We are not selling Maguire, but we also cannot allow him to continue as the captain. Simple as that. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer made a big mistake in giving him the armband when he came in straight away. And it needs to be taken away. I don't care if that ends Maguire. It shouldn't end Maguire. I think he should be strong enough, but at the same time, I would have expected him to kind of improve at Manchester United when he got the armband, but he didn't. So what's going down here? Keane said that when he was captain, he had the talent and maturity around him. That made it easier. Maguire surely doesn't have that. Yeah, of course, you can talk about circumstances, but let's not point the fingers elsewhere. That's what needs to happen in every area of Manchester United. Stop saying, but this and that worked against you. No, fuck that. Just start pointing at yourself and saying, I didn't do this properly. I can do this better next time. A bit of responsibility. A bit of people taking it on board themselves and not trying to power it off on someone else. Maguire has been a shit captain. That's not necessary. Of course, the club being in a bit of a free fall, the stuff's going off behind the scenes, the manager situation, there's contributing factors. But ultimately, the reason that Harry Maguire has been a bad captain is because of Harry Maguire and nobody else. All right. And any captain that tries to deflect that and push it on someone else is the definition of not being a captain. That's what a captain's supposed to do. A captain's supposed to absorb the blows so the teammates behind don't have to. That's what Jose Mourinho was famous for when he was in his prime at Chelsea. He was the manager that just absorbed all the blows from the press. He would divert all the attention away from the players to himself. That's what Fergie did as well. That's what leaders are supposed to do. They're supposed to get bloodied and punched. And then it leaves everyone else behind them to do their job. That's what a captain is supposed to do. Is not what Harry Maguire has done in any way, shape or form. Take the armband away from him. Give it to that man there. He's committed his future to the club. Let's move forward. Let's go here. Benito, you're saying I can't explain why Rangnick is keeping him as captain. Hey, look, I don't know. As I said, I agree with quite a lot of what Rangnick has done so far, but I think his loyalty towards Harry Maguire has been a mistake of his, and I've said that quite a few times. But look, as I said, like all this, obviously that was a little bit of a distraction. That's an excellent distraction, though. The idea that Bruno signed that deal, happy days, man. Finally, you can start planning. Look, you can start looking towards where we're going to be in 2-3 years' time, and you can say with confidence, Bruno's going to be there. That's about the only player that you can have any true confidence that's going to be at this club in 3 years' time, right? Am I being wrong when I'm saying that? What other players, a curious one in the comments here, what other players can you say with real confidence that will be at Manchester United in 3 years' time? You let me know what you think about that. What players, as I said, utter confidence. Bruno Fernandes is going to be here in 3 years' time now. Sign that deal. I don't know if something could come up, I suppose, but I could say that with confidence. He'll be here in 2025. Who else will be? Van der Save, you're going for Jadon Sancho. I absolutely hope you're right there, my friend. Jadon Sancho should be here in 3 years' time. I really, really hope so. Lots of you, first name that's coming out here, you're all saying Sancho. Kieran, you're saying Varane. I don't personally think you can say that with utter confidence in 3 years' time. Ilanga, yeah, I can agree with that as well. McTominay, some of you are saying, geez, Mata and Matic, I swear to God, if Mata and Matic are here in 3 years' time. I don't think you can say it with any confidence about De Gea. I don't know whether he'll be here in a year's time. Rashford, a few shouts, a couple of shouts for Fred. That'll be an interesting video to do, wouldn't it? Manchester United in 2025. Who will be here? Phil Jones. Ugh. Jesus. Might be Phil Jones. You never know. But look, let's move on. Let's have a quick chat about the game that's coming up. There's footy tomorrow, man. Playing Leicester. Saturday at 5:30. An absolutely abysmal kickoff time. The team news for Leicester is that Jamie Vardy is not involved. Now, that is a good thing for Manchester United. And Wilfred Ndidi has been ruled out for the rest of the season, I believe, with a knee injury. Let's go down here. Yeah, that is the case. So if we're looking at the Premier League table, right, we're playing Leicester, who are not even there. They're so far down there, 36 points. We've had a bang average season. They have 14 points behind us, albeit with 2 games in hand. This is what the Premier League table is looking like. This race for the top 4. We're currently 4 points behind Arsenal, who have a game in hand, right? And we're behind Spurs, having played the same games and 1 point less. But I tell you what, and this is why I'll be honest, I personally don't have much confidence in getting inside that top 4. Look at the fixtures. Let's take a look at the fixture list for all 3 teams. Man United, right? We start against Leicester on Saturday before we play Everton away next Saturday. And that is a bad-looking game for us. Everton are massively in a relegation scrap. And Goodison Park, let's be honest, over the last 5-6 years, has been a bit of a bogey ground for us. Early kickoff on Saturday, I think it strikes me as that's a game where Everton's going to turn up. Norwich at home should be a banker, stuck in a relegation scrap. Depends on what's going on at that point. But again, playing 2 teams who are right on the verge of the relegation zone will not be easy either game. Then we go down here. And we're all talking about, right, if United can just win their games until we get to that get to that situation where we can play Arsenal and we can beat them at the Emirates, maybe we can get into the top 4. Fucking hell, that means we've got to go and beat Liverpool away at Anfield 4 days before. I mean, the top 4 could be done by the time that we play Arsenal. And then we've got Brentford, Brighton, but at this point, it's slightly relevant. But even slightly relevant, then we play Chelsea, second last game of the season. We've got ridiculous fixtures coming up. And then we take a look at Arsenal's. They're playing Palace away. You would back Arsenal. It won't be the easiest game. Brighton at home, you back them. Southampton away, difficult. Then, of course, they've got Chelsea away. And then they've got United at home. So maybe they'll lose away to Chelsea in the same time that we're going to be losing away to Liverpool. And they won't run away with it. But I think Chelsea is their game in hand. Let's find out. And we go to Spurs. They're playing Villa. You back them. They're playing Brighton. You back them. Brentford. You back them. Leicester at home. You back them. Liverpool away. No chance. You never know, actually. Burnley at home. Norwich away. I'll say Tottenham got the best run of fixtures. Right? I would say that's about fair. I think Manchester United got roughly around about a 10% chance of getting inside a top 4 finish. I personally think that the season is kind of done and dusted already. That the football now is just a big distraction. It is a massive distraction. But I suppose until mathematically we can't finish inside that top 4, the season's not over. I might do a predicted 11 video later, but I'll be honest, I think I'm more inclined to do a video reacting to Neville's comments on the Glazers, because I think that's a bigger... This channel here, United People's TV, the community that we built here, it's not necessarily been built around loud, ranty match reactions and match previews. The community is sort of built around natural, like more intellectual conversations about the bigger topics of Manchester United. And the Glazers can't be ignored. So I'm more inclined to do that Neville one. I'm not sure. Ideally, I'll be able to do both, but I can't really get both out and done in time. That'll be too many videos for one day. I'll think about what I'm going to do. But there'll definitely be a video going out at lunchtime today. Don't you worry about that. But if we're going back to have a little quick roundup for anybody who's joining in now, the major update there from Jason Burt and the Telegraph is that Ten Hag is the absolute first choice candidate for Manchester United. Absolutely. But there's going to be a second round of interviews, and we don't know what is involved in that second round of interviews. But I'll tell you one thing we got to do before we finish up today. You know what it is, ladies and gents. Need like a little map song, a little map jingle. It's map time, baby. You let me know in the comments, where you're watching from. And also, going to be here for another few minutes as well. If you've got any questions that you'd like to ask me, keep firing them in the comments, and I will try and answer as many as possible. Chris, you're saying, Sam, any news on if Gary Neville will give you an interview? Not at the moment, Chris. I'll always urge anybody in the comments here, please keep tweeting Gary Neville, slide into his Instagram DMs, tag United People's TV in it. It'll be good to get as many of you doing it as possible, because then we've got a bigger chance, really, of getting Gary Neville on the channel. But yeah, you let me know where you're watching from, but you need to put the town and the country, because there's plenty of people that have already watching from Ireland. There's plenty of people watching from India already, and Hong Kong too, Australia as well. I need to know what city you're watching from too, so I can get you exactly on the map. Where do we need? We still need some from North Africa here. Algeria, Libya, Chad, Niger, Mali, Tunisia. Someone from Morocco there. Christy, nice. You're watching from Accra in Ghana. Love that place. Spent 3 months there. Let's see who we got down here. We got Nawaf watching from Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. I'm not sure we've got that on the map, my friend. So on you go. Jeddah's going on. Welcome aboard. A whole way from Saudi Arabia. Bet it's hot there. I mean, sure it is. Who else we got down here in the comments? Oh, look. Got Abdullah watching from, Muscat in Oman. The only country in the world begins with O. Fun fact. That's like the easiest pub quiz question in the world. On you go, sir. And let's get one more on here. Let's do where are we watching from? Oh, yeah, World Cup draw today. Let's see who England get. Let's see who England's going to get knocked out from. Got Michael watching from South Carolina. We've got Cornelius watching from Boston. Christian watching from Nigeria. Carson watching from Hong Kong. All of that's on the map already. Let's see who else we can get. Freetown is already on there. Ooh, there we go. That's not on the map. TJ watching from Baku in Azerbaijan. Tell you what, I would love to go to that Grand Prix. That Grand Prix looks awesome. On you go. Azerbaijan added into the mix. Wicked. Look how much. I should get this printed at some point, eh? This map looks cool as hell. How many have we got on there now? 263 maps. And the 5 latest, we've got Baku in Azerbaijan, Muscat in Oman, Jeddah in Saudi Arabia, San Fernando in Trinidad and Tobago, and Sisimiut in Greenland. Look at that. Cool as hell. But look, thank you very much for joining in this morning. It's the Friday. It's the interactive one. We get you on the map. Thank you all for joining in. Bruno signed his new deal. Please smile about it, people. It's a great thing for Manchester United. I genuinely don't understand if people aren't happy. But look, you're entitled to your own opinion as a United fan. Of course you are. But that's a weird one if you're not happy. That's a really weird one if you're not happy about Bruno. Enjoyed today's, don't know, it's Friday. Although last week I was in shorts outside in a pub beer garden. Today I went for a walk and it was like the depths of winter with snow. What's going on? What is going on? But look, thank you very much for joining in as everybody. As always, everybody. I'm now losing my words. It's like saying Poch and PSG all over again. I'll drop a like on the video if you did enjoy the video, and make sure you subscribe to United People's TV if you're new in town. I'll be back later on today. Make sure you check out my video I did yesterday. And as I said, if you would, head over to the Last Man Standing video. There is a link in the description. Thank you, Bet Victor, for supporting the channel. It will help United People's TV if you go over there and like the comment that I've left. Have a great day, everyone. I'll speak to you soon.